things can change. They can change on a state level. They can change in a state led by Republicans. Our next guest helped draft that bipartisan gun legislation that passed in Florida 3 weeks after the Parkland school shooting that killed 17. Watch part of this speech then Florida State Representative Jared Moskowitz gave about a teacher who kept his son safe while that teacher's own daughter was murdered at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
That writing class was going on in Parkland on the afternoon of February 14th, around the corner from Douglas. And that class was taught by Jen Guttenberg. You see, she lost her daughter, Jamie, while she was teaching. My son had a right. She put my kid in a closet when her daughter died. I wanted to say thank you at the funeral. I didn't know how to do that.
Jared Moskowitz joins me now. He attended Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, is currently a Broward County Commissioner, is running for a Democrat for Congress. Commissioner, thank you very much.
Good morning, Poppy.
Good morning. You wrote a piece in the Sun Sentinel, and here's part of it. Quote, "The United States of America should be able to keep a simple promise to parents. When you drop off your kids at school, you get to pick them up alive."
Yeah, it seems pretty basic.
I was just going to say, just reading that as a parent, every day I wait for 3 o'clock. Every day I wait for 3 o'clock, right? And then I feel better after 3 o'clock when they're on their way home safe. And it shouldn't be that way. And I just wonder if you have the faith that, for example, Chris Murphy in the Senate said he had this weekend that, he's more confident than ever that something will get done federally.
Yeah, it seems pretty basic. I mean, when I was writing that op-ed, I thought to myself, wow, what a failure of this country. Don't get me wrong, we live in the greatest country in the world, but what a failure of this country that we can't make a simple promise to parents that when you drop your kid off at school, you don't have to worry about picking them up. Look, I don't know what's going on in the Senate. Obviously, I'm not privy to those conversations. Senator Chris Murphy said he's looking at Florida as an example, and that he's hopeful. I mean, here in Florida, we got A+ rated members of the NRA. It's completely controlled by Republicans in the House and the Senate. Rick Scott, who's no moderate, to raise the age to 21, to institute waiting periods, red flag laws, hundreds of millions of dollars for school safety and mental health. And not one of them lost an election over it. So to the Republicans in Washington, D.C., you can side with the kids and your political career is going to be fine.
And you said that in your remarks there. I watched the entirety of them on the floor a few years ago, saying, don't side with me, side with the parents. Well, one of the things you did is that you took your Republican counterparts, as I understand it, to your alma mater, to your school, right, and to the scene of the mass shooting and said, look at this. And I wonder what your advice might be for Republican lawmakers in Texas, for example, in the wake of Uvalde, and any lawmaker there looking to change something.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it wasn't some strategy I had. It just felt natural, and obviously it was extremely impactful. Everybody who came, Democrat or Republican, but obviously the Republican leadership in the House, the Senate, came to the school the next day. They saw what it looks like when there are bullet holes through the windows, when there are backpacks piled up outside, when homework is scattered all over the parking lot, when there is blood in the hallway and outside the door. Everyone was crying, as they should have been. I mean, I was there that night when they were telling parents at 12:30 in the morning where their kid was in the building. I didn't hear crying. I heard screaming. It haunts me. And I didn't want legislators to stay in their office in Tallahassee and watch this just on the news. They needed to see what it looks like. School is turned into a battlefield by weapons of war. And I think it was impactful. So anyone in Texas, don't let the elected leaders, don't let the elected officials that are in the Capitol right now looking at this. They need to come see the school. They need to see what it looks like when kids go to school and they don't come home, when parents have empty rooms in their houses, when they have to pick out boxes for their kid. This is not the way it's supposed to be. And so
I was just going to say, one of the things that also changed in Florida is red flag laws. That was part of the many changes in that legislation that passed 3 weeks after the Parkland shooting. And it has been used more than 8,000 times in the state. And Republican, sheriffs there say it has made our state safer. I wonder what you say to opponents of red flag laws. For example, Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw in Texas, who did an interview right after the Uvalde shooting with our colleague Dana Bash and said, quote, "We are essentially trying to do with red flag laws is enforce the law before the law has been broken." He says they don't make sense. What do you say in a state that has them?
Yeah, well, he's wrong. And that's why Republican sheriffs have told him he's wrong. Some of the most Republican sheriffs here in Florida, out of Polk County, where red flag laws have been used a tremendous amount of time, have told him he's wrong. I mean, think about it this way. If we're only right in 1/2 of 1% of those cases, we have prevented 45 parklands, 45 buffaloes. I mean, isn't that enough to warrant these laws? So look, they're effective. It's why law enforcement supports them. It's why they're supported by the majority of Floridians and the majority of Americans. And by the way, there are Republicans now in the U.S. Senate. Rick Scott, who was governor of Florida, who signed that bill. He knows it's a good law, and he knows he should institute it in the U.S. Senate.
Jared Moskowitz, thank you for your time this morning.
Thanks, Poppy.